So, hi everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I'd like to start by asking you to imagine this scenario with me. The marketing team lets you know they have security at TV spot. Your app and website are handling the usual traffic for the time of the day, around 600,000 requests per minute. Then, that commercial starts. With just 2 minutes, the number of requests to your systems doubles. 2 more minutes, and now all the traffic that you usually receive for the time of the day was added again to your traffic. And 2 minutes later, now you are handling 2 million requests. In other words, in just over 2 minutes, the number of requests to your system almost quadrupled. So now I ask you, how does your infrastructure handle with that? And something even more important, how do you monitor it to make sure everything is actually fine? Because let's face it, we all have been frustrated trying to access our website during a big release ticket or sale and face it, delays and timeouts, right? Well, to prevent it, we are here to talk to you about our experience in this kind of scenario. But first things first, I'm Paulo Tavela. I've been working at Serasa for 4 years. I'm Brazilian. I'm engineer manager leading the observability team. I'm tech passionate, but outside of work, I really like sports. I'm trying to be a beach volleyball player, and I'm also new to running.
Are you trying?
Yeah, okay. I'm trying.
So guys, nice to meet you. I'm Gabriel Pedroso Madri, in English, Gabriel. Oh, okay. So I'm also Brazilian. It's been a challenge to present that in English, so be aware of that. So I'm working at Serasa for 5 years. I've been working at Serasa for 5 years. I'm a new Cube astronaut. What is Cube astronaut? I'll tell you. It's a CNCF badge for who have completed some Kubernetes certifications. And I'm not a egocentric person, but I'm trying to be a bit with the achievement because it was hard to get it. So my nickname at Serasa is Bigode, and in English it means mustache. And I think I don't need to explain that. So, and I'm new as a Kubernetes guy. So I'm a SRE at Serasa. I'm a retired skateboarder. Why retired? Because you need to know how to fall in skateboarding. Yeah, and I'm not good at that, which means I don't want to hurt myself, so I'm kind of retired. So I'm also a non-professional boxer. I'm practicing training for 5 years. 5 now is too much, 4 years. So, but I think I won't get money fighting. I'm not that good, so, you know. And low budget gearhead. I like it. I'm a kind of enthusiast in gearhead, but it's not my priority. And it's like expensive job, not job, sport. And I'm very nervous, but I'll be better later. So that's it.
Okay, perfect. Let me tell you about the company that we work for. Serasa is a company focused on offering users control over their financial lives. And our mission is to bring credit for everyone. Serasa is also a company part of the Experian Group. I believe some of you may know it. And Serasa is the largest credit bureau in Latin America and positions itself as a technology company, making itself the first and largest data tech in Brazil. Well, talking about our products, we offer user debit negotiations, credit offers, we have a digital wallet for payment, we have credit scores, and data monitoring on dark web. Our users can access our channels in 2 different ways, through our app, which represents about 80% of all access, and our web page. And bring to you a big number, daily we have about 6 million signings. It's a huge number. Well, and how is our challenge? What is our challenge? Our challenge is to find the best way to scale our environment, especially connect to the marketing campaigns. So, we have 2 main marketing moments in a year. The first one is our feirão. In a free translation, it's something like big fair, which are 2 moments a year when we build a physical place to get in touch with our customers and promote access to digital less engaged users, or who else needs some support or information about our products. Well, Last year in November, one of our stand got more than 25 in-person service during 5 days of event. And the second marketing moment is more common. I'm talking about TV and internet campaigns. Well, but a special challenge is when we combine these two things at the same time. That case I start our presentation telling you is one of these exact scenarios. In March of this year, during a TV show on Global, the large TV broadcast in Brazil, a reporter was on live showing how our big fair was going and invited users to access our digital channels. At that moment, we went from 600,000 requests per minute to 2 million requests per minute in a growth window of just 6 minutes. This is a really short space of time. And, yeah. And let's face it, bad response time here is lost business. Because first one, we paid for that TV commercial. Second one, the user is aware in our system trying to spend money. And the third one, do not handle the traffic is lost business. We lost credibility, we lost reputation. So, how to prepare for a spike? Should we just allocate more resources, more AWS infrastructure? Because one thing is a fact, the native scale won't be able to handle it. Right, Gabriel?
Right, correct. And we are talking about an infrastructure that is mostly AWS. And we run, I would say everything, not everything, but the most part, in Kubernetes. And that's why I said the cubes are out. And in a native scale in Kubernetes, for example, we have some triggers to scale a new replica of your application. And the full value for the time, it's 30 seconds. So we start the run losing 30 seconds. And we also have a other flow that I will explain later. But the worker start up a new instance. So we have, I think, 1 minute if you are quick. So we already lost 1.5 minutes and 30 seconds. We also have the registration of this worker to the cluster. We also have the app startup. So it's a lot of time compared to the window that we have. And as Paulo said, in 1 minute waiting for something, your app, you probably close it. So that's not enough. So native scaling won't be enough for that case. So how to handle that? We talked a lot and made a lot of discussions with the engineering team that we are part of that. And the only solution that we found is to pre-scale the environment. So to pre-scale the applications, creating a lot of replicas to be ready for the spike. It's kind of, like everybody be ready with your guns to the war. It's kind of it. And so that's it. We scaled, pre-scaled, and everything goes fine. Thanks so much for your time.
Bye. Kidding?
I'm kidding. It's a joke. No. So let's go. How do we do that? How we did it? How we handle that? We built the environment scaler. Environment scaler, it's an application responsible for the pre-scale, the environment. So, and it worked with mainly 4 components around it. And nice, what is these initials? So, the first one is 8PA. I would say like 8PA sometimes, the next slides. So it's horizontal polyod scaling. It's a Kubernetes resource responsible for scaling horizontally to add new replicas of your application. So it's usually watch a metric, for example, the CPU usage, and you have a definition for that. For example, 30% of CPU usage. When this metric is reached, the 8PA will increase another replica. It's basically that. And imagine that you are adding new replicas to the cluster automatically, and if you haven't resourced enough, you need more instance. So that's when the cluster autoscaler makes its job. The cluster autoscaler is responsible for add new workers to the cluster. And in our case, running in AWS, we use autoscaling groups. So it basically changed the autoscaling group to add new instance, and it will be registered to the cluster. And the next one, it's custom resource definition, which I will call as CRD. It's complex to explain, even in Portuguese. I'm not kidding. But it's basically an API inside the API server of Kubernetes. It basically allows you to create your own API inside the API server, of course, respecting the structure, the YAML, and this kind of thing. And I really like it. It's kind of insane for me to, have an API that you can create your own API inside the API. So, and the point is that you can manage these resources through the API server. So, I don't know if someone knows here, the kubectl, you can use it to manage, for example. And the code, I think it was fun. I thought it would be fun. Okay, I'm sorry. But it's Python. Why did we choose Python? As a SRE, and considering the context in Brazil, we have the most SREs know Python, have experience with that, much more than Golang that I think you probably think about it. So we decided to move on with that one, which is much better for us to maintain the solution along the time. So that's it. That's the 4 components. And so I'll talk about more concepts about environment scaler. Some, I would say, like components, concepts that we created. One of them is the scaling profiles. And what is scaling profiling? We have, they are like, as I said, components, concepts, and we have like the low, medium, and high. And what does it mean? It means that for example, we scale, the low profile means that we scale your environment 100%. It's a hypothetical number, okay. So, and the medium would be 150%, for example. This is the concept of that. And the sensitivity of API target is what I explained before. And the point here is we use lower target for low profile and higher targets to high profile. Why? Because the low profile, we are scaling a bit, not too much, and I may miss, like decide to scale too low, but it should be medium, for example. So we deciding that thing, it means that we have in the cluster 70% of free resources, for example. So I have these free resources for some mistake, I would say, because when we are talking about the scaling for a spike, you just can consider your current resources because you won't have time to scale. So define that. I'm completely sure that I will have at least 70% of resources free. We are talking about scaling, pre-scaling, so it will probably have more than that, but just respecting the APA. So the next one is the scale specification. It's actually the CRD. We created the scale specification. You could call everything you want. So we created one for each workload, containing the profile and the min, max replicas for the APA for that workload, and the target specification. So, and you have it for each workload that you must be scaled, want to scale. So imagine that you have your cluster running the environment scaler. You already created the scale specifications for your applications. What do you do with that?
It's time to
light it up. We are trying to be a show, guys. Let's go. So you basically call the environment scaler to make its job. So, and how does it work? How does it work? We make a request to environment scaler. For example, scale it to low profile. And the environment scaler will read each scale specification on the cluster and make read the low profile for workload 1, change it, the APA of this workload, and go to the next one. And at this moment, the environment scaler responsible it's done. Like it's not more, it haven't more responsibility in that process. And what happens before, after that actually, the API was changed on what happens when it happens. What happens? Oh my goodness, sorry. So when a API is changed, the new pods will be added to the cluster. So you will have the pending pods, and we'll have the whole process that I explained before. So the cluster autoscaler will add new instance to the cluster, and every pod will be running if everything goes fine. And when we have all pods running in a health state, I would say, we consider the workload scaled. And that's it. So all of this process, in our case, is scaling to a high profile, for example, and scaling 200 workloads. We don't need to scale all of them. We need 50 minutes, for example. Not for example, we need 50 minutes to scale to a high profile. And sounds good, right? But what about the rollback? We're scaling, a lot of resources, the money is flying. So flying, I think that doesn't exist in the expression. But to roll back, we have a profile called normal, or normal, sorry.
Yeah, almost the same.
Portuguese. and it basically makes the same process, basically the same, but we haven't a profile defined as normal. As you could see before, we have low, medium, and high, not the normal, because it's not a profile, it's just a rollback. So if you want to know how does we do it, you can talk with us later after this stage. But how we get the values, to make the rollback. But it's the same process. We will rechange the HPA, and the infrastructure will be returned, and the cluster autoscaler will remove the workers that are not more needed. So awesome. How do we observe that? How do check if everything is fine or if the profile that we set is right? So we just check the request. It's not just, but we check the request that we received. It's the same graph that you saw before when Paulo started, versus the quantity of pods. So we basically compare the graph, and if nothing has changed, the pods quantity, it means that we decided or used the right profile, or we are running correctly or ready for that spike. So that's it. And how to know if when you are scaling, is everything fine? So I would say must, but you might compare the quantity of desired pods versus the running to understand if everything that you scaled is already scaled, So Paulo, you talk a bit about more about observability.
Yeah. Can you pass, please? Okay, perfect. So we add some observability to our environment scaler, and it is full connect with the infrastructure resource that we have. So we can check what the environment scaler is scaling, as well as the profiles that are being used, and of course, the full impact of it. And when I say the full impact, I'm also talking about product metrics.
I'm sorry.
Whoa. It's okay. It's okay. So yes, we have this kind of view inside of Datadog too. So we have the number of access to the login page, the number of logins that are made, and something more specific to us as the number of the dev agreements that are contracted. And all these metrics were aligned with the teams before, and each team observed it to determine how healthy their flow is. So when we combine tech metrics with product metrics, we can determine at the same time how our infrastructure is responding to the new users and how these new users are performing in our products. Here on the right, you can see the traffic spike split it by internal flow. And as you can see, one of them reached almost 500% growth. This tells us then we have to be prepared for traffic spike in different ways, because each internal flow has different needs, even inside of the same ecosystem. So it was just one thing that we learned during the development of this tool, but there are a lot of more, and Gabriel will share part of this with us.
Yeah. So the environment scaler didn't born like having a lot of resources or features, I would say. And so we had a lot of learnings and improvements. As you can see, I would like to highlight two of them. The first one is the pod scaling logic. I'll try to explain first of all well, let's go. Roll back. The pod scaling logic. Before that, I would like to share with you that we removed the scale specification definition from the developers. They were defining that, like the low profile for a workload, they were responsible for defining the min and max replicas. So it was a problem. We found a problem on that. So we moved the responsibility to the SRE team. So making that movement, we were responsible also to define the base, these values. So how to define that? We created basically a methodology to define the value for each workload that must be scaled. And the first moment we created based on an average quantity of pods, so of a range. So for example, the average of quantity pods in a month, for example, for one workload, and you got a value from that. And when you are scaling, for example, to low, you will scale to low based on this value that you set. So we got a problem from that. We were scaling using the methodology, but we got a lot of workloads that were scaling during a spike, which shouldn't, because we already pre-scaled. So I thought, and I don't know the word, but I have a click in my mind, and I thought we should use the P95, not the average. And what does it mean? So it's not the P95, okay, it's just to illustrate. I tried to, create the best way I could use to explain. But using the P95 and maths, don't hate me about what I'm going to explain. The P95 for a range, for example, from 0 to 100, for example, the P95 will consider only the 5 highest values. So it will be 95 until 100. And we forgot about the 1, 2, 3, which are the low values. And why we did it? Because using the average, we were considering the calc, the base, the numbers of a low traffic. So we were considering the midnight traffic, for example. But it doesn't matter. We just need to know when the application is really running, during the day. So using the P95, we fixed that. So we solved that problem. And obviously, the whole base of profiles got bigger. So the profiles, have more replicas than before. But the point is that we fixed the problem. It met the demand. So it's a good one. Note that. And the next one is the scaling timing. So it was the etcd of Kubernetes when we were scaling. We were just like putting a lot of money, pods, just scaling. I don't give a, I can't say that. But we were just adding a lot of pods to the cluster. And the etcd is the database of Kubernetes. So we were getting a lot of problems. We got a lot of problems, as you can see the objects graph. So we made a change to the environment scaler check the quantity of pending pods during the scaling. So instead of scaling one by one without stopping, we changed it to scale one, scale the second workload, for example, and the third one, it will check if the cluster have more than 100 pods in pending states. The 100 just to exemplify. So making that change, the control plane got much more healthy, I would say. We removed the saturation during a spike, during a scaling, sorry. This process is before the spike. And we could sleep without thinking about the scaling. So it was a change that we made that was really important. And so Paul will talk a bit about the future of the environment scaler.
Sure. We have many opportunities for this too, such as the possibility of automatic integrate with the marketing numbers, since today all the definition is done manually. Also, we can transform this solution in a multi-cluster and multi-account solution to automatically scale dependence. And the key point here is the multi-account. Since today almost our environment is AWS, but we have some projects in Azure. And in the future, I don't know, we may connect to another public cloud. So after improve these things, we believe then we have a strong tool to cover all the possibilities of integration with our tool. So Gabriel, could you share with our audience, valuable tips?
Yeah. $1 million tips. So before the 2 points, I would like to share that if you have a problem, a challenge like that, like a spike, and you need scale, you can try to do the way we did it. It doesn't mean that's the only way you can do it. That's not true. But it met our demand, So that's it. The observability point is, as I talked about I said about the profile, to understand if met the demand or not, we need observability, How to realize that it's not working and you need to do something, or it's not fine, it's not enough. So you need observability, and guess what? Datadog can help you with that. So use it. So it's the main point, like talking about spiking, we are talking basically about numbers a lot. So metrics, it's really important. You need to check it, And we are in Datadog Dash. So I think I don't need to explain more than that. So, and go step by step. The environment scaler was, at the first time, a script. We run it locally, So, and we moved the chain, not move it, but we growth the solution based on the business needs. So we started small, understand what we need to do to reach the goal. And, we started to trail, I don't know if I can say that, to improve it. And, don't try to create like your first solution to pre-scale, having all features that exist in mind or could exist. For example, Datadog is launching the AI agent today. Not actually today, but whatever. It's kind of, example. And even, I already said that, but using observability, you can even check if the workload that you scaled really needed to be scaled. So the observability is the key for that. So that's it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was a really challenge, okay? We're very nervous here.
Feel free to come up to the mic in the middle of the room if you have questions for our speakers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to listen to my questions, so come and join us.
Oh, come on. Hi.
Sorry, I had a really quick, stupid question.
No.
You have the original buckets as like low, medium, high.
Yeah.
How did you bucket service? I assumed it was like automatic based on CPU because I saw like minimums and maximums. But do you just like determine like a low, medium, or high level per service, or was it like if your CPU level falls in this range or in the low bucket?
So we have the all profiles to every workload, And actually, we didn't said about it. We scaled based on we have the same profile to everybody, to all workloads, and we use the same target to everybody, the target CPU. And so the high, for example, will be 90 to everybody and 30 to low profile. And we scaled, we defined these profiles based on the spike, not spike, but the access, the quantity of access that we expected from the marketing.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered correctly.
Well, I think in the spec, in the CRD, I saw it was like based on like there's like a minimum and maximum CPU number, which doesn't feel tied to like a specific spike, but I understand like you would bucket them based on how much you expected the traffic to go up. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. But if you have more questions, talk with us. We are Brazilian, we like to talk. Okay?
Bom dia.
Did
Did you guys load test? If so, can you talk about your load testing?
No, we haven't. I'll be, how can I say? Damage. No, no, we haven't load testing for that. I think that all environment have no problems or I think there's no perfect environment. So this is a point that we must improve it. So we haven't load testing.
Yeah.
But it's a good point. It's an excellent point. We are working on that actually.
How did you know, like, what is the expected traffic then?
Oh, the marketing, I'm trying to explain that in English. Oh, in English. The marketing works with a agents of TV, and they have the Ibope. I don't know if the same word in English, but it's basically the number of a research company. So they have, like, the number is higher to a journal, a report. Oh,
Can I add?
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel free, I don't know the words.
When the marketing teams will release new campaign, they already know which kind of public and what to expect, the audience to expect. Yeah. So they let us know, tomorrow we're gonna be a new campaign, it's a high impact. Or tomorrow will be a new campaign, it's a low impact. So from this, then we scale our environment.
And that's also why the profiles is called low, medium, and high, because it's aligned with the marketing.
For example, in Brazil, we have like a moment for the day. This is called the novel. I don't know if it's novel. Yes, thank you. At the 9 p.m. And this is a high impact. So we always know if it has a commercial, and that moment will be a high impact.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for the questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, feel free to talk to us.